Though culture and language is very important for First Nations people and for all Nations people to learn their culture and their language. Because without a language and a culture, your identity is gone.
We first started to think about the book when there was a sort of a request from families within northern communities. And the request from communities was for books in their language.
That's my background as a dietitian, learning about nutrition. I think just wanting to also have a book out there that was about food, just to have that, but also about our food and the food that we can get here, the food that we get from the land. And I felt like once I started to put it together, it connected so well, and I could actually show that we could have a balanced plate from the food that we have available to us here.
Language is very important because it gives you your identity. It tells you who you are, how you fit in everything into this world, where we live, where we are. It's without language, the identity component is not there. Little babies are going to hear a lot of English now. So what we try and do is we just try and introduce the language to them, and that was done in the book here. And it's done in the most simplest form that you can, and that's just one word at a time.
To see a young child learning Cree or Dene and learning their language and not to be ashamed of speaking their language, and same with other groups of languages around the world, not to be ashamed of who you are and what your language is. And for traditional First Nations people, learning your language and your culture gives you an identity of who you are as a person. And it makes you feel proud that you are somebody.
Through sitting together and reading a book at the end of the day or before bed provides that close connection, that engagement of relationships.
For the adult reading it, they can get the pronunciation from looking at it. The video is helpful in terms of getting it right.
So that's a lot of the reason that I wanted to write this book, and the reason I chose this story was because it made me think of the things that I did when I was a child, when I was visiting Pine House and Alacross, and we'd spend summers there.
Well, to me it is very important that we keep all the languages going.
Bits of language that I know, and so I want them to at least have that. If they don't have, they might not be fluent, but I want them to be comfortable. And I want them to be proud. I'm proud to be Métis, so I want them to have that.